guys, it's Legomatic 9, and this is going to be my end of 2019 kind of wrap-up video where I go over some of the highlights and my top 10 favorite minifigures that I made, and just all of the projects that I've gone through, and then some stuff that I have planned for this year. Now, yes, I do know it is 2020 currently. It is the first day of the year, and I'm sorry that I didn't have this video out a day earlier, but I've just been very busy recently, so I haven't really had that much time to sit down, set up my studio, and record. And so, in front of you guys, I have all of the figures that I've made throughout this year, and I keep saying this every single year, that the number of figures I'm able to make in a year just condenses. It gets smaller and smaller every year, because last year I made like 30 or 40 figures, and I thought that was small, and this year, I don't know how many is this, 20, 25-ish? I didn't even count, but anyway, the point is, my time has been very, very much taken up by school and work these past 6 months especially. So it's been hard for me to sit down and make some figures. And, you know, I'm almost done with college, so life has got a lot more priorities in it than making Lego figures. But I'm still very proud of what I did make this year. I got to some projects that I've been really, really wanting to get to this year, such as Revenge of the Sith and Game of Thrones. Now, let's go ahead and just dive right into what I made this year. So, of course, we got my sig fig up front. To the left here, we've got the Mandalorian, which I think was a great figure. And then we have some Revenge of the Sith figures going down the line. And then we've got my Pulp Fiction figures up at the very end. Behind them, we have all of my Game of Thrones figures I made for the second part. I haven't shown off Tormund or Davos yet. I'm kind of saving them till later, but there's this little preview at them. We've got the Night King, got Hound, all these other Game of Thrones figures. Now down here we've got my other half of my Revenge of the Sith figures. Got General Grievous up in front, as he should be, and just the rest of them. And then towards the back there we've got some Rise of Skywalker figures that I've made. They're not completely done. Poe is almost done. Lando and Kylo just need some capes. I'm waiting to get a Cape Madness order in for them. And then I do have Finn in progress, and I need a jacket for him, and I need to do a lot of work left on him. And then I got to do Rey, and of course Palpatine. But there's this little preview at them. No, I have not forgotten about them. I will be making some figures for that movie, of course. But yeah, one thing I did last year was I did my top 10 of favorite custom minifigures that I made in 2018. So now we'll go ahead and carry that over for 2019. Start it off with an honorable mention. It's going to be Mysterio from Spider-Man Far From Home, and it's only a honorable mention just because I made this figure for my friend Andy, so I don't even have this figure anymore, or else I would have had him like way up, probably like number 3 spot. But the only reason why I left him out is just because I don't have him, so I just want to do the top 10 figures that I currently have, or else that one would be up there. So at the bottom 5 of this list, we're going to go through them pretty quickly. Starting off with number 10 here is the 501st Trooper from Revenge of the Sith. I really like this guy just because the 501st Legion is my favorite clone Legion in Star Wars. And I really like the paint job on this guy. I think it's one of my cleanest ones, and I really, really love the blue color that I was able to mix and achieve, and I just think it looks really good. At number 9, here's the Hound from Game of Thrones. Now, the Hound is one of my, if not my favorite character on Game of Thrones, but the only reason why he's so low on this list is just because I think his tunic especially is just kind of messy. I think I could have done a better job with making sure all of the little armor plates were even with the E-tape, and then I think the bolts that I sculpted onto this gorget piece are just a little too thick. But I really like the head and the hair I made for him, and I really wanted to make a version 2 of him, but I just kind of lost interest after season 8 ended, and the show kind of went to shit. But yeah, there is number 9, the Hound. At number 8, we have Jules Winfield from Pulp Fiction. Pulp Fiction was one of my passion projects that I did this year just because I've been wanting to go back and remake the figures that I had made back in like 2014 or something like that. So I really wanted to get back to them and remake them, and I think this guy turned out really good. I really like the paint job on him. I think it's pretty clean, even though he's pretty simple. That's why he's kind of lower, just because he's not as complex as the next 7 figures. But I'm just really happy that I was able to go back and make him. At number 7, we have the Night King from Game of Thrones. I really like how this guy turned out for the most part, especially the head paint job, just because this is one of my only fully painted heads, and I think I did a decent job at it. I think there's, some errors here and there, and the eyes were a pain in the ass to get, and sculpting the horns was a little tricky. I'm not 100% pleased with how they turned out, but for the most part, I think they look alright, and just some of the sculpt is a little weird here and there, especially with like the shoulders, because I think they're 2 different sizes, just barely. And it was also a pain in the ass to get the etched pattern into like the arms here, and then the shoulder pads, then underneath the that main armor section with the X-Acto blade grips. That was a pain in the ass to get. So that's why I kind of wanted to put him on here, just because I spent a lot of work doing pretty much everything on this guy. I just wish he did more in the show. But yeah, there's the Night King. At number 6, I have Anakin Skywalker from Revenge of the Sith. The only reason why this guy is just a little low on the list, I think some of you guys might place him up a little higher, but the main reason why he's a little low is just because I wish I had sculpted the hair piece rather than just using a official Lego one. I think I could have sculpted one that's a little more accurate. This one, you know, it works, but I think sculpting one would have made it a little more accurate, and this might make it look a little better. I also want to get one of the newer heads to put on this guy that came in the Mustafar dual set that just came out, because I think that one's got a better likeness than this one does. Yeah, that's where I put Anakin Skywalker at number 6. At number 5, I put Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. I just really like how this guy turned out. He was a collaboration between me and my buddy Sander, or the Mythosaur. Check him out if you haven't. He's a really good sculptor. I'll put a link down in the description to his Instagram page for you guys to check out. But yeah, me and him did a collaboration on this guy, and I just think he looks really cool. I really like the colors on him. That's the main reason, and I think Sander did an excellent job with the sculpt for the lions on his shoulders, and then the torso armor. Everything else was sculpted by me and just painted up by me. And I think the likeness it's not the greatest, but I do really like the look of this figure, so that's why I put him up at number 5, and probably my favorite Game of Thrones figure of this year. At number 4, I've got Obi-Wan Kenobi from Revenge of the Sith. I just really like how this guy turned out, mainly because Obi-Wan is my favorite character from the prequels, so it was really fun to go and finally make him as a Lego figure, since I never had before. I also made a new lightsaber hilt for him, which is more accurate to his design in the films, and just overall, I'm really, really happy with how this guy turned out. At number 3, I have Commander Cody from Revenge of the Sith. I really like how this guy turned out, mainly with the colors. I think the orange was a great color for Cody. I think it might be just a little too bright, like have like too much contrast in it, if that makes sense. I feel like it could be a little duller than it is now, but I still really like how it turned out. I just think the paint is just really smooth on him. I like the minimal sculpting that I was able to do on him for the helmet, and then also for the little shoulder antenna, and I really like the look that the battle damage gives him, because it makes him look battle worn. It's I had it on the 501st Trooper, but it's nothing I had done previously with my other clones that I made for Battlefront, for example. So I just think it looks really cool on him. Just from every angle, I just think this guy looks awesome. I think that's just, it's mainly just Cody's design as a trooper in general, with the visor and just all of the gadgets on him. Everything is why I just like him so much. He's always been one of my favorite designs in the prequels and just in Star Wars in general. Maybe not my favorite clone trooper personality-wise, that's probably still Captain Rex, but design-wise, I just think Cody turned out awesome. At number 2, I have the Mandalorian, the most recent figure that I have posted on my channel. I just really, really still like how this guy turned out. I think the sculpt on him is one of the most complex ones I've had to do this year. Besides Grievous and Mysterio, I think he's right up in there. Just a lot of sculpting work on this guy with all of the armor. And even though this is the version that we see in the first episode of the show, I still really like the colors on it. The Beskar one, I think I do like that design better, but this guy just has like more of a Western rugged gunslinger aesthetic to it, which I really like, and I think I was able to properly achieve that as a Lego figure. I think there are still some issues with this guy. I think the cape could have been done a little better, and I think the paint I did on the helmet, while it is really smooth and I like it still, I think it could have been a little lighter than it is now. One thing I really like about this guy is, well, the rifle I think turned out really nice on this guy, and it is magnetized to his back, so it can come on and off pretty easily. And then I swapped over to doing a carved visor, which you guys can see from this angle, rather than sculpting and then, carving it out that way. I'm just kind of lining it on the helmet, so this way the helmet isn't as bulky, it's more slim, and I just really like the look of it a lot better than my previous Mandalorians like Boba Fett and Jango Fett. But yeah, I really like how this guy turned out. Now, this shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. My favorite minifigure that I made in 2019 was General Grievous. This guy was just a huge challenge for me to make, and I've made several videos expressing just how hard he was to make. He does have a Lego skeleton on the inside, and I used Lego as a base, so you guys can't say that he's not Lego, because he used Lego as a base, and I just sculpted and painted it up to make him way more screen accurate than he was before. And I still absolutely love this guy. There are some issues that I have with him, mainly just with the production side. He was supposed to be released, like the cast of it was supposed to be released for you guys to be able to purchase earlier this year, but that never happened. But it's out of my control. Andrew Vu over at AV Figures is the one who's supposed to be casting them, but he's just been busy with his own projects, I guess. I don't really know. I haven't heard anything about this project in a while, But from my knowledge, he still is planning on getting them casted and getting them available for you guys in limited numbers. So he hasn't gone up yet, so don't worry, he didn't sell out. You guys didn't miss your shot. I will post updates whenever I get them from Andrew of when he'll go up for sale, so you guys will be able to snag him if you want him. And the other thing is, this guy's made out of resin, not ABS plastic, so the joints on him are fairly loose. I had to glue the joints down to the legs there, just because he would just fall over, and I'm debating on gluing the hips too, just because I don't move his legs ever. He stands up on a display, so I don't really need to move those either, and it just prevent him from falling over ever. And then these joints up at the shoulders are pretty loose. He cannot hold lightsabers, and he cannot pose these arms anymore. They're kind of just rested down in this position. They just fall just like that. So that's just a result of the resin just being more malleable and less dense than an ABS plastic, so it's able to form more around that ball joint, and it's going to get looser over time, just because that ball joint is pressing into that resin, and it's just making that shape over time. So, you know, it is what it is. I kind of expected that. It wasn't a big surprise to me. I was just happy I was able to get him painted up and get him posed up and get those money shots before those joints gave away. But they haven't broken, so that's good. The arms are still on there, but I probably should glue those in at some point. So that's just something you guys need to worry about if you get this, is over time you'll have that issue. But yeah, other than that, this guy was just a huge challenge for me to make, and I'm just very, very proud of how he turned out. We'll just do a quick little look at him, spin him around real quick so you guys can see him from other angles. I just really love the sculpt on this guy. I think he's probably the most screen accurate Grievous out there. I know Dylan or the Moosefigs has one that's a little more Lego style, which is still very good. But, you know, it's a completely different look than this one. They look very different, and so there's something for everybody out there. I know he doesn't really look exactly like a Lego figure, but I am still very pleased with how he turned out. This is what my vision of a Lego General Grievous would have been, was something like this. I'm just very, very pleased with him. So hopefully you guys like him. Now, let me know down in the comments what your favorite figure that I made this year was, and how you would have rated all of these figures that I have in here. You guys agree with my list? Did I forget any that should have been on here? What do you guys think? I would love to hear your thoughts. But there is General Grievous. There are my top 10 favorite minifigures I made this year. So let's go ahead and move on to some projects. So now I can talk about the future projects that I want to tackle throughout 2020 real quick, starting off with the Rise of Skywalker. Of course, I got to finish up those figures and have that video out to you guys ASAP. That should be out probably mid-January, if not in the first 2 weeks of it. I think that would be a good estimate for that. And then after that, that means I would have made figures from all 9 of the main Star Wars saga films. So I want to do a really cool video where I take all of the 9 projects that I've done and compile them all in one video. So it's a complete Skywalker saga custom minifigures video. Now I do want to make a few figures other than the Rise of Skywalker to kind of fill some gaps. I feel like the prequel trilogy was really underrepresented, mainly just Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. So I do want to make a few figures just to fill the gaps. I was thinking of doing Queen Padme or Queen Amidala, whatever, from Phantom Menace, along with Jar Jar. Thought that would be a funny one to do. And then I want to do Yoda from Attack of the Clones. I think he would complement Dooku very nicely and just get some more heroes in that lineup. And then I'm trying to remember what else. Maybe a Phantom Menace ObiWan, just to go along with Qui-Gon and Maul. That might be a good one to do. And then I want to make a new Han, Luke, and Leia from the sequel trilogy, because I feel like the ones I have now are not good, especially my Han Solo, and I feel like Leia could get an update, especially with the Rise of Skywalker outfit. And then I want to do another version of Luke. Either it's in his crate outfit or just a new one in his Jedi robes. We'll see. But I do want to have all those guys done, so then that'll be all in one video. We'll have some new figures in there along with all of the older Skywalker saga figures in one video. So that's something I'm really, really excited about, because I've been dying to do that. And I feel like that would just be a nice video to just conclude this major project that I've been doing for, like, I think 5 years now is when I first started. But yeah, I think that would be a really cool video to do. After that, I do want to make some Mandalorian figures, such as, well, the Mandalorian, of course, and his Beskar armor, Cara Dune, IG-11, Greef Karga, Moff Gideon, and Baby Yoda, of course. So I'll have all those guys done after that. And then Clone Wars would have come out by that point, I think, because that comes out in February, if I'm not mistaken. So I want to make some figures from Clone Wars, of course. I've been saying that for like 2 years now, but I think I'll finally be able to get to that project. once I finish off the Mandalorian and all the Skywalker Saga stuff. And then between Clone Wars and whatever else, I'm not really sure. I know I want to make some Halo Reach figures because I've been teasing that a little bit on my Instagram, and I've been working with Sander or the Mythosaur on Instagram with some sculpts for that. So I want to have those guys done by September because that will mark the 10th anniversary of Halo Reach. But other than that, that is all I have planned. I think that is plenty, and maybe even more than I am going to be able to tackle. So if you guys have any suggestions of anything you'd like to see me make that you think I might be good at, or if you guys have any suggestions for figures for the Skywalker Saga that I haven't made yet that you guys would like to see in that video, let me know. Other than that, I think that's all I have to talk about for this video. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for sticking with me throughout 2019. I wish you all a very happy 2020, and I will see you guys later.